Welcome to Posting Black. My name is David Hunter Jr. Welcome to Posting Black. My name is David Hunter Jr. And on today's episode, we have none other than Letia Solomon. Young lady, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Now, before we get started, we always start with a little icebreaker.
Okay.
We in the movies.
Okay.
Candy or popcorn?
Ooh, popcorn.
Popcorn. Okay.
That's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I used to be
sometimes I bring my own little seasoning.
Real? Oh, you want seasoning?
Oh, yeah.
Really? I used to be a
occasion.
Sour Patch and just water guy, but now I'm getting butter, popcorn, the slushy, everything.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
Sour Patches?
Yeah, Sour Patches, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
all
like
right.
a special night. Like, that's like a good date.
Okay, okay.
You know? Like, it's a special.
season. Man, so where are you from?
Well, I'm kind of from all over, but
Okay.
I just claim LA.
Okay.
Because my dad was in the military.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
so-
branch?
Marines.
Marines, okay. Out here,
Yeah.
hoorah. I have some family in the Marines.
Right.
I know about that.
Yeah, so we traveled everywhere across the world, but born in San Diego.
Okay.
And then the longest period of time I stayed, it was in Georgia, Albany,
wow.
Georgia. So like for me, that was like my formative years. And
Okay.
I came out here in high school, so I'm like half Southern and half like a Cali girl.
No, I feel it. The Cali, I get the Cali vibe, but then when you say you brought your own seasoning, you put your little neck, like you twisted your neck a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, seasoning for your popcorn.
Right.
All right, that's what's up.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, now you told the people a little about you. What do you do in this industry? You've been all over. How are you in Posting Black? You work in industry. You're at SC, at school. Tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, so currently I'm at USC studying, getting an MFA in TV and film production. I started off, actually, my career changed. Originally, I was in chemical engineering. So
Wow.
I studied that in college, worked in aerospace for 4 years, and then kind of simultaneously, I wandered into acting, like on the weekends and after work. Loved it so much and just started like practicing my craft and going to acting classes and things. And then actually, I ended up meeting Twilla and Dion and amazing filmmakers along the way that just kind of furthered my passion into making my own film.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, I did a filmmaking class at the New York Film Academy.
Oh, wow.
And it's like people like to kind of talk about that and kind of down the school, but I think it's a really great crash course for people who don't have a background in film. So I got to learn very quickly like shot sizes. What does it mean to do a close-up versus a medium versus a wide? And before that, I would just speak in emotions, or I would pull up clips from YouTube and say, I want that. Or I want this kind of feeling, or this kind of sound, or this kind of color.
Wow.
And then once I educated myself, for me, that was the turning point. And then I left aerospace in 2016. Freelanced for about a year. And at that time, I was still acting and making my own stuff. I applied to film school in 2017. And that's when I started. And 2 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And I have, it's a 3-year program, so I actually graduate in May.
Oh,
in
wow.
next semester, so May 2020 will be my last year. And then from there, it's like, you're out the nest and out in the real world and in the industry.
Yeah. That is amazing. You meant chemical engineering. You traveled to wear a military brat kind of. You've had a lot of experiences, and I think that's really going to make you a great person to work in the industry because it's based on real experiences. And if you haven't had anything, what do you have to bring to the table to provide and to give off of what you know? Ava DuVernay is obviously very talented. One of the first people that I met.
She's incredible.
Gina Prince.
Yes.
By the way,
Yes.
one of the first things that I remember she stuck out. She said that she hadn't had any experience making films, and so she said, "I'm going to write something that I know." And one of her first features, her first feature was Love and Basketball.
Yes.
And so that's just amazing. Write what you know, and I think your experiences are going to shape you. So you've had all this industry knowledge. How did you know that you wanted to, you really wanted to shift from chemical engineering into what you're doing? Now, you said acting, directing, but you're directing, you're editing, you said shot list. There's a plethora of things that seem to have intrigued you about this industry. What stands out most to you? Obviously, being on Posting Black, we're focusing on that, but what stands out to you?
I think the ability to share a message to the masses. And after my first film, which was like on domestic violence, again,
what was the name of that?
It's called Untold.
Untold.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I, like a crazy lady, starred in it and directed it and produced it. like a crazy person.
Oh wow! I saw the head. I saw the chin drop. I was like, we need to pause. What's that? This has got real.
Right, and
Okay.
I didn't understand. To me, I don't know. In engineering, you just use project management, and you just reach out and pull tools together to make something happen. So for me, I knew people with cameras. I knew editors. I knew people, and I don't know. Just through training and through that field, you learn skills to pull things together.
Yeah. Now, what type of training? You talk about training. What type of things were you learning on the go to kind of get you prepared to get better and to grow, to make sure you put the best product out?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So people probably might expect me to say something technical.
Yeah.
But actually, it's people.
People.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say in aerospace, you work on a lot of teams and you work in a lot of groups. Mm-hmm. Engineering in general, or maybe corporate America, there's a lot of groups, and you have to learn. And also, they put you through different effective communication classes and things, and you just get put in situations just like The Office, that TV show, where it's just like you just deal with people. And I realized, I think, how to effectively communicate and how to, assemble teams and understand what leadership means and how to lead effectively. And again, it's just like project management and just kind of setting a goal and understanding how to get people to kind of get to the goal and believe in the vision. So it's a very personal type of soft skill. And then for me, I said, okay, well, that's what the courses are for, to learn the technical aspect. But if I can pull the pieces together and get mentors and experts that could show me like, oh, no, this is the lens that you really want. Right. Then I figured okay, I can learn by doing that way. So it was a very crash course. Yeah. And then I realized, oh girl, you need to go to school. Yeah. I feel like sometimes you can rogue it or guerrilla style it kind of for so long until you realize the gap in knowledge. And I realized there's something I'm missing. Yeah. As a filmmaker. It's not knocking people that go to school to say, school's the only way. It's not knocking anybody that doesn't go to school who's made it. But there are some things that you never stop learning. Right. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to learn. And I think you kind of, reinforce some of the knowledge that you have and then gain something on top of that. Right. And it's really beneficial. I don't think it's going to hurt you, one way or the other. And just the way you're talking, I feel leadership all in you. You know what I mean? I feel like there's something where you have a clear voice, a clear understanding of who you are. How important do you feel like that is to try to navigate this industry and get to where you want, especially as a person of color, a black woman, young black woman? How can you explain some of the challenges that you've approached or you've experienced along the way? Yes, I would say people in general at large are not used to seeing people of color in positions of power. And that's something that I've learned by trial and error and understanding that this is just the world that we're in. And unfortunately, not everybody, but the world does not really, value people with our skin tone. We posting black, girl. We gonna say that. They don't value the black lives. That's why we gotta say Black Lives Matter. Yeah. I'm not even one that's vocal like that and says all these things, but I'm still black. I'm gonna rep from my people every single day of my life. Right. It's never gonna change. Right. The way that we speak has afforded us the opportunity to speak to many different types of people. They're not offended. Nobody has ever questioned, is Dave black? I don't think they question, is Letia black? But they respect our voice. Right. But it's still something you have to carry with you every single day. Oh yeah, and I've had to earn the respect for sure. And I'm like, every single person who has been along my journey, especially within school, you have to work twice as hard and all. It's a real thing. Unfortunately, it is very real. I try not to let that limit my possibilities and my goals. I just keep it in the back of my mind. And when the situations do come up, which they do, where I'll say something and somebody else will say the exact same thing, almost word from word, but that gets heard and that gets taken into consideration. It happens very often, but I've learned how to pick and choose my battles. There it is. And just when to stand up and fight for my voice. And I think there's a time and a place. And I don't know, it's just a reality, I think, where we're at. But I think about Ava DuVernay, I think about Dee Rees, I think about all the filmmakers and women of color who are out here still doing it. And I think for this Cypher, which is a short film that David is actually in, he's our DJ.
Oh, man.
And came through at the last minute.
Tell the people about the Cypher.
Jealous because I'm gonna see you in the ring one day.
I see right through you, bro.
That boy ain't ready.
Pull up. What you gonna spit? You disgust me. It's already yours, right? You just gotta prove it.
We got the newcomer, the challenger, Twilla. Who do y'all think is gonna be the last MCC?
So the Cypher is a short film. It's a 12-minute short film about a young African-American male who's a rapper in a freestyle rap battle competition in Philadelphia. And he has a secret that he kind of has to deal with as he's trying to make it to the final round. And it's a film that touches on masculinity, on self-identity, and also just kind of challenges some of the norms of the hip-hop culture. And how there's a lot of hyper masculinity within those spaces, and any signs of weakness can be grounds for termination.
Real.
Immediately.
I love the way you put that, grounds for termination. Is there how can I phrase this? Did you write this story? And
No.
how was this brought to you in terms of how did you get connected with that project?
Okay, well, so this right here is an advanced student film at USC. So just a quick overview in terms of the MFA program.
Yeah.
There's just different ways. There's a traditional thesis, and then we call this class like a 546 type of thing.
Okay.
And it's a smaller, shorter format. Different major people have come out of the class and have directed a 546. Ryan Coogler did his film called Fig. And I think while he was writing Fruitvale Station, and success kind of came from there. Also, Stephen Capel Jr. He did the class as well. Yeah. And so the process is you have to pitch yourself. As a director, pull together a pitch deck. First you read the scripts that are submitted. Attach yourself to a script. Pitch to a classroom full of directors and faculty and professors. And then they vote, and they select only 3 films for each semester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was up against maybe about 10
Okay,
other
so what we're
directors.
going to do right now, we're just going to do that. Because, I feel like you need to just swag it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with just a little pat right there on the back. You know what I mean? Just a little bit.
I'm just grateful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's some dope people that come from that project. I have some people, obviously I was connected to some people from Oakland.
Nice.
And they met Ryan and they knew him. And then I actually met Steven. I had a film that screened at a place where he was in the same building. And so seeing everything that he's doing and you being in the same line, I see why they chose you for the project. Because it's not just about the quality of the project, it's the quality of the person. And again, I say this all the time. You one of those, you ever go to the store and you scan it. You scan that right there.
Yes.
And it works the first time. And that's who you are. You authentic, you real. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. So you being in this program, you meeting a lot of people, you have a bar that's been set from people in the program beforehand.
Yes.
How is it with your getting everybody to put in the film, post your knowledge, then you're crafting, you film the story, but now you're crafting the story behind the scenes. Yes. How is that aspect? Because there's a lot, you could film it on paper, but then you get it, and if you don't put it together right,
absolutely.
What's happening there?
Yes, we actually just picture locked maybe about a week ago.
Okay.
And now,
explain picture lock to the people if they don't know what that is.
Okay, so that's when you make your final edits on the film and you cannot change it. And so USC, specifically for this class, they have a very strict policy where you can't, after a certain amount of time, you cannot change any frames, you can't add any time or anything. And so we're locked in and committed to that final picture, so picture lock.
Right.
And then from there we go to color grading the images to make different colors pop, and then we go to sound design. So then we can accentuate different sounds. So for instance, if we're in Philadelphia, that city's known for a lot of public transportation. So we're playing with sounds of the train going by, or buses, or there's a lot of gravel and our characters walking on gravel. So sometimes maybe for Foley, which is like a sound effect, we might heighten and just recreate the steps to create anticipation. So
like the atmosphere, the background of everything, right?
Yes.
The movie making.
Yes. So it's incredible. It's a very extensive process.
I was gonna say it's like another movie after the movie. Like, you know, you think you're done when you say, and that's a wrap. But now you got to get started. You got to dip your hands in and really get dirty with it.
Oh, yeah.
Are you hands-on in doing the editing? Do you have a team? Are you have to watch everything that they're editing? What are some things you're looking for specifically as a director when you're looking at edits? What are some things that pop out to you and you say, no, this take over that take?
I think similar to Ava, which she's amazing, and this is something she does so well, is she finds emotion. And I think I've tried to channel that within this process. So my editors are incredible. There's 2 of them. Okay. And that's just a part of the class. You always have 2 editors and 2 PD, and kind of other departments are in 2s. And certain takes, so after they did their editor's cut, you do the director's cut. And I would ask them, why did you choose this take? And they would say technical reasons usually. And I was like, no. Let's use something else. Yeah. Where, you know, this young man, let's focus on the themes of the film and this young man, you know, accepting himself and focusing on self-acceptance. And maybe there's a technical glitch. Yeah. And I'll have to confirm and just reassure them that no one's going to see that. It's about the emotion. They're going to be looking at his eyes. Okay. So I've had to make certain calls. You
kind of have some battles in there to over which frame, because obviously if an editor, you know, they have freedom to want to tell the story, but then it's, you know, your vision. You kind of have to really fight for what you want and then really explain why you're fighting for it. Would you say?
Yes.
Is this helping you when you get to the big projects, you know, the $1 million budgets and all that? Do you feel like you're finding your voice?
Oh my goodness. You have 1,000 notes coming at you every single class, and so you have to filter out through those notes and figure out which ones apply for the vision that I'm trying to go for and the story I'm trying to tell. And some things, they might have had a valid point, but that's just not my style. And I've had to go through a process of being true to myself. Okay. And saying, you know what, my gut is telling me this, even though a professor who has a whole bunch of years of experience is telling me to do something else. Yeah, not to cut you off, but what is your style? What is Letia's style? What is a vision, like other people that you've looked up to and say, this is what I aspire to be. This is the type of stories that I see. These are the type of things, like when I see that cinematography, Bradford Young, man, I want somebody like him who has that eye for all of my films, or that writing, that line. We glorify the actor that said it, but the writer, who is he? Right. What stories are you gravitating towards? What things are you wanting to see done in the future for yourself, and not only that, for the industry? Well, I would love to focus on films about women and also family dramas, and just kind of dig a little bit underneath the surface and make people feel a little bit uncomfortable with the images and kind of just challenge like our status quo in a way. Also, I just love Ava and Ryan, to be honest. And one thing about them that's very unique is they have been able to crack the code and find a beautiful middle ground between indie and commercial. And I think that's why they are so successful, because they're able to tell these real, raw stories where we can all universally relate to. I mean, people who are not Black are loving Fruitvale Station.
They're actually, I've been up to Oakland, they literally are driving to the BART station to take a picture like it's a tourist attraction. And it's not a tourist attraction in East Oakland, we're doing that. But
Right.
it's become that. It's become that place. Oh, I want to go by Fruitvale.
Right.
You know,
yeah. Or even Black Panther. It was
Yeah.
very Black.
Yeah.
And they talked about a very unique, I guess, issue or topic that's very. It's a very I don't want to say it's a low key, but basically kind of tension between Africans and African Americans. That's a unique
Yeah,
thing,
it's a thing.
a struggle.
Yeah.
And he did it so beautifully, and he did it in a way where everyone championed that film. And I think it's Ava too, especially with When They See Us. She's more on the social action side. And I think if I could find a middle ground like that and tell stories about women, tell stories about women in sciences, also continue to do a kind of coming of age films, I think that's where I want to live.
So, in regards to the technical aspect of filmmaking, we all know it's pretty extensive, but you said something about the Cypher you're working on. You learned a lot, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. The Cypher is basically like a hip hop drama. So 8 Mile meets Creed, or a new school version of those two. And one thing, we all knew that it was going to be a very technically challenging film, but I think our professors who've had like a lot of experience, they kind of told us kind of halfway through that, oh, no, you have to pre-record everything. So the raps were pre-recorded, and immediately I was a little bit nervous about the authenticity of the performance and how intense it was going to be, and I felt as though live would be best. But what I realized is that technically, if you have different angles, it's going to be very, very hard for the actors to give you the same intense performance from every single angle. And I just had to kind of suck it up and listen to my professors and realize, oh, they were absolutely right. For sure.
That might have drove you crazy on the day that you were filming. Like, we didn't get the continuity. He did something there, and it didn't match. There might have been something.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But what we had to do is we kind of had to scramble and push all of our rehearsals up earlier and rehearse so much to a point where I was okay with their performances. They knew their lines, and they knew their lines in a way where they would repeat the action at the same moment from every single angle.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's big.
And I had to say, no, you know, when you say gorilla food, you got to go like this, not this. And it was just very technical from that perspective.
Yeah, it's like choreographed, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
In a way, you're like, all right, you know, not fake, but we rehearsed it to a point where it's just naturally in the same motion.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
and it still kind of feels like freestyle.
Yeah.
Versus them already memorizing the lines. It was very interesting from that perspective. But my editors are incredible, and they were able to still find the moments and pull out different takes that still felt very organic. And one thing we did do is at the end, we tried it. We did film them live, their final verses, just to have it.
Just to see.
Yes, and it came out pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good idea to even have that thought to do that. So you mentioned a lot of things where you're hitting the right buttons. What are some challenges that you've experienced over this course of time, even in your career? Some things that you notice, maybe something happened to somebody else that you're like, ooh, I don't want to go that way. And then what's something where you're like a project that you're excited, you know, that you've worked on, you're like, oh man, that was the smoothest thing I've ever done. That was great.
Channeling out notes.
Okay.
And really understanding which note still fits the vision that I had from the very beginning versus listening to too many notes, and then your film is kind of just all over the place, if that makes sense. I got you. And so it kind of took a little bit of soul searching to kind of weed out those notes and really just get down to the nitty gritty or the vision. And I think it's an ongoing process from what I'm understanding, especially when you have like a studio involved, or you have EPs or people who are funding this film and they have a note, and you have to figure out whether or not you're going to listen to that note. Those are challenges I think that I've dealt with, and I'll continue to deal with as they come, I think. And one good thing I would say about this process is surrounding myself with incredible filmmakers.
Hey, now.
I think that's something that is forever moving forward. I definitely had some, and my team was very diverse, actually. I had a lot of people of color. I think it was maybe split 50-50.
Okay.
And every single person on my team is incredible at what they do. The DP, production designers were incredible. They came up with these really interesting ideas. My producers, the soundies are like hip hop heads. So they were giving me all type of ideas and giving me different like tracks to look up and things to research. And I feel as though we kind of all pulled together and championed the film together. So I think moving forward, your team is everything. You know, yes, it's the thing of being auteur, and you do, you know, there are moments you do have to kind of just take it on your own, but I just think collaboration is key, and also communication, and I think this project kind of taught me how important that is.
Okay. Along those same lines, so we're talking about this industry and connections. Are there any mentors or people that you've had over the years, or people that you kind of want to reach out to connect with, to kind of keep you going and keep you encouraged? You know, because a lot of times we say we want to do it on our own, but you really need some village. You need some people that have been there before.
Yes. I would say I did reach out to Steven.
Okay.
Stephen Capel Jr.
Yeah.
He sat down with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he talked. I asked him about, okay, how the heck did you film these wides of the crowd, and how did you do like the crowd noises and accentuate different emotional beats when Michael B. Jordan was in the middle of the ring, and how did you keep up that stamina through different takes? And I just asked him a lot of, I guess, those type of emotional or directing questions. He was helpful. And then I think just different professors at USC. I have a great editing professor, Tom Miller, John Watson. He's the producing faculty for the class. And yeah, I think just different filmmakers. I personally, if I could, I'm going to just throw it out there.
Go ahead.
What's up, Ava?
Hey,
girl.
Do it.
You know, look, I think we should just sit down, have coffee. 30 minutes of your time, that's all I need. And that's who I would just love to get her advice, and especially with handling Disney and these major motion pictures. And then also there's a lot of like polarized comments on when they see us. So some people loved it, some people hated it. And it's just like, okay, I want to just talk from woman to woman. How are you dealing with this feedback? And how do you keep going? And how do you just stay true with your purpose in life and in the industry?
That's big. That hits on something I want to touch on too before we let you go, in terms of being a young woman coming into this industry. Obviously, you know, being a young man, and I'm on the acting side mostly with some writing, there are struggles that we deal with every day. But being a woman, being, you know, even a brown-skinned woman, you know, all the things that you had to fight through. What are some things that you see that are challenges right now, things that you have to deal with, things that you're still seeing that, you know, people may say obstacles, but you just see them as, we still got to deal with that? What are some things that you're seeing in as a potential roadblock that you're trying to fight through?
I think being heard in meetings, and also having other people take your images seriously.
I see.
Because I think there is this sense of whatever we produce is probably less than your counterparts. And so it's so interesting, because I just had like this coming to Jesus moment maybe a few days ago. Yeah. I was like, oh, I think that's why I'm doing this, is to be, I guess, to let people know and let other black girls know, or other people of color who are wanting to come into this industry, that your work will be valued. There's a space for you. And, you know, don't get caught up in being compared to our counterparts. Let them do their art. That's great. If there's a place for us specifically.
We thank you for sitting down with us. Tell the people first off, before we let you go, where they can find you, social media, what you're working on next. We know about the Cypher, anything else, and where they can connect with you maybe.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Letia Solomon, and you can mostly find me on Instagram. It's at l.solomon, SOLOMON _. And right now, I am working on a feature film. I'm writing it. And so I played basketball in high school, and this is when I moved out here, and I grew up in LA. And I was a country bumpkin from Albany, Georgia. And y'all this, and I had a big,
different vernacular.
Twang.
Yeah,
yes.
a little twang.
Yeah, so I had to get acclimated very quickly to LA culture, and this is back in 2005. And I feel as though I think it's time for a bit of a Renaissance film. You mentioned love and basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But this film will be less about the love per se, and more about the camaraderie of teenage girls of color in LA, and how we experience life, and we had to lean on each other to get through it.
I love it, man. You know, your boy is not from LA, but I've been out here a while, and I love LA. Man. I love it. You know, I'm going back east to visit, but I ain't leaving. Nah, baby. Well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Posted Black. Appreciate LTE Visions for hosting and our wonderful guest, Letia Solomon. My name is David Hunter Jr. I've been your host. You can follow me at David Hunter Jr. Keep dreaming.